The decision to organize a 2020 tournament on a global scale marked the vindication of cricket's most recent innovation, and the competition received a fitting start as Chris Gayle set the Wanderers alight with a blistering century against the hosts South Africa. However, his effort was undone by some shoddy bowling and an equally ruthless innings by Herschel Gibbs, as the home team had its revenge for the upset in the 2003 World Cup. If the tournament opener was sheer entertainment, the contest between India and Pakistan in Durban was pure thrill. With the run needed of 2 balls, Misbah-ul-Haq missed the penultimate delivery and was run out the final ball to hand the World Cup its first tie. In a game decided by a bowl-out, a concept modelled around penalty kicks, India's bowlers hit their targets each time, while Pakistan were way off. The result was inconsequential as both teams qualified for the next stage, but the humdinger was a sign of things to come for their next meeting. The skin-tight yellow and grey lycra outfits and a defeat to Zimbabwe made the one-day champions Australia the early laughingstock. Zimbabwe bowled and fielded with venom to keep Australia to 138, but their batsmen stuttered, eventually needing 12 of the final over. Brendan Taylor took them past the finish line and taught the Australians to show more respect to the 2020 format. It wasn't the only upset of sorts. A day later, 2 of Bangladesh's most trigger-happy batsmen, Mohammad Ashraful and Aftab Ahmed, evicted West Indies out of the tournament in a brutal manner. The Windies bowlers were rendered helpless as every slog, whip, hook and drag flick found the boundaries, exhibiting probably the cleanest hitting witnessed in the series. However, Bangladesh failed to maintain the flow as the tournament progressed. Australia's thumping win against them showed the blip against Zimbabwe was a one-off. The result owed to the raw pace of Brett Lee, whose hat-trick marked the only highlight of a no contest. He got Shakib Al Hasan to nick one, York Mashrafe Mortaza, and trapped Alok Kapale in front as Bangladesh never recovered for the rest of the competition. The Minnows had little to cheer as Sri Lanka whipped Kenya by 172 runs, which was the largest victory margin. The target of 261 was so impregnable that Kenya only managed 88. If one had to put a picture to England's failed campaign, it would be this one of Kevin Peterson's comical run-out. He flipped over at the crease after his bat was wedged between Sean Pollock's legs and the direct hit could not have come any sooner. England may perhaps have avoided suffering the costliest over in 2020 history had Andrew Flintoff restrained himself from ruffling Yuvraj Singh. A charged-up Yuvraj took his anger out on Prod by smashing 6 sixes in his over. The first flew over cow corner, the second over backward square leg, the third over extra cover, the fourth over backward point, and the fifth over mid-wicket. The 6-6, which flew over wide mid-on, became one of the defining images of the tournament. A critical moment in India's successful campaign was their win against the hosts in a pressure game. RP Singh's fiery spell of 4 for 13 shut South Africa out of the match and the tournament. 2 specific moments showed that India meant business. The first was Dinesh Karthik's ripper slip to get rid of Graeme Smith and Rohit Sharma's pinpoint accuracy in the run-out of the dangerous Justin Kemp. The semi-final turned out to be one of the most absorbing games of the tournament. Yuvraj enthralled again as he clattered 5 sixes in a breezy 70 against Australia. Matthew Hayden almost quashed his effort, leading the run chase brilliantly, but for an ill-timed collapse that put India in the final. The co-creator of bizarre dismissals, Misbah-ul-Haq, added gloss to the climactic moments of the final when he scooped the innocuous Joginder Sharma to short fine leg. The altitude at the Wanderers ought to have carried it over the rope, but the forces were with India as the ball dipped and landed into Srisant's hands. The despondent Misbah couldn't bear to look as the Indian players celebrated and swept away the bad memories of the World Cup exit just months earlier. This is Siddhartha Talia for Cricinfo.
This is Cricinfo Talk.